Hey friends, it's Ruben with HIFIMIDI. Thanks for joining me if you're here. I know it's kind of sudden and unannounced, but I'm just going to wait for a few of you to join me and to say hi before I get started with this video. So if you're out there, please let me know if you can hear me. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. It shows that there's audio here, so so today I wanted to talk about the MIDI pack. There are a few concerns, or a couple of concerns. Nothing really major though. So I'm using a Mac and I'm using Cubase 12 Pro. Hi from Croatia. Hey Ivan, Eduardo, Jamie, Ron. Good. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. So as I was saying, I'm using a Mac and I'm using Cubase 12 Pro. The reason I'm using Cubase for my MIDI packs is that I was able to simply create the MIDI region or the MIDI file and then drag it into a folder on my DAW. I used to use Logic Pro, excuse me. I used to use Logic Pro, and when I would try to do that in Logic, it wouldn't export the MIDI. So Cubase was a lot easier to do that on. And with the Cubase files, or with the MIDI files that I make in Cubase, I could drag that into Logic very easily and it'll play back in Logic with no problem. So I created this MIDI pack hoping that it would work on everyone's computers, that you could just import it into your own DAW. But apparently there has been issues with Windows users getting some type of error message. I'm not a Windows user, so I don't know what's causing that, but I called a friend of mine who regularly sends MIDI files to Windows users, and he said that dragging it out from the computer onto your DAW, from the computer, from the DAW onto your desktop will create some type of incomplete file. So this is what I would do, and then it would show the MIDI file here. The other way around that is to click on that region or that MIDI file and then export MIDI file. But then I would have to type out the name and then route it to the appropriate folder. And that took too long. So if anybody is out there that knows how to solve this, I don't want to give a product that doesn't work. I want to solve this issue. So if anybody out there knows how to fix that, please help me with that. I'm looking at other resources, hoping that they would work. Anyway, so this is the project that I used to create the MIDI pack. As somebody mentioned in the video I posted yesterday for the MIDI pack, they were taken from Native Instruments Picked Acoustic. I don't think I was doing anything wrong by doing this. I guess they were upset that I didn't say where the patterns were from. Now they're really generic patterns, so I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I wasn't selling it, so there's nothing wrong. So what I did was I listened to the songs from the Picked Acoustic plugin. There's a lot of patterns here that you can play and hold down a chord. The problem with the Native Instruments one is that it doesn't give any MIDI data. So for example, to my knowledge, it doesn't anyway. You can't drag any MIDI onto your DAW. All it's doing is triggering patterns that are already built into the software. I mean, the benefit of that is that it sounds more realistic than if you programmed it in Ample Sound. But the problem is that it's not flexible, so you can't adjust the length of the notes. It's going to play that pattern. You can adjust the timing, but that's it. So there's not much flexibility. What I did was that I opened up. Let me see. Give me one moment while I drag this down. I opened up both tracks, the picked acoustic and the ample sound. And then I picked a song here, or a pattern group. Let's see, Take Me Higher. I think I already did that one. Pawn Shop Guitar, West Wind, Funky Mutes. I'll try another one. Old Castle. So I listened to these. Then I went to the ample sound guitar. And started playing that. So what I created a MIDI file specifically for this. Some of them I played on my keyboard and then I just edited the strings and frets. And some of them I programmed in Riffer. So let me go ahead and listen to this real quick. Yes, you can transcribe these in the melody version of Picked Acoustic. Excuse me. Let me try that real quick. But not everybody owns Picked Acoustic. This is mainly geared for ample sound users. And this is for people that don't know how to play keyboard or maybe have trouble listening to a melody and playing it. So let me go back to that real quick. I think I forgot. It had the word castle in it. Castle, castle, where are you? Old Castle. So that's just playing a C major chord arpeggio. And I would go into here. This is gonna this has a triplet feel. Bum 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 bum. So I'm gonna choose a 4/4 triplet. One dun 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 dun. I don't think that's gonna work with this timing. Hold on. Bum 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 bum. So this one I would probably program it within the DAW, not in Riffer. It's very short, just one measure. And I'm going to set it to quarter note triplets on these last 3 notes. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. Okay, I'm going to loop that real quick. So that doesn't sound great by itself because we have to fix a few things. I have to fix where it's positioned. If you notice, this note is being hammered on. With an arpeggio, that doesn't really sound that great. So what I'll have to do is move it up. So it's possible I might have to play this note, this C, on this string. We still run into that same issue. Thirds on the top of a chord are a little difficult to do without doing a hammer on. Unless you're playing in keyboard mode. If you play in keyboard mode, excuse me, you can do that easily. I'm going to extend this note down here. See, I'd like to get this MIDI pack. I'm subscribed to your channel. I have 2 of your courses, but I can't access it. If you go to the video I posted yesterday, I provided an alternate link. So click on that link. It's from my Google Drive, and then you should be able to download it. Isn't there a melody? Okay. All right, so in order to make sure that this C right here plays back on that string, we have to use 4th string. So that one's going to be G0. So I'll have to add, let me make sure that you guys could see that clearly. So I'll have to add the key switch for G0. G0 is going to make sure that this note right here is being played on the 6th string, which is a low E string. Let me take it out of keyboard mode. So here again, we get that problem with the hammer on. You could also try different strings, starting on different strings. Yeah, this is having the same issue. So in that case, this melody is unrealistic to play on guitar unless you're hammering on, in which case it's not going to vibrate that top note for the whole measure. It's going to be cut off. So if we could take off this one right here. That would work right there. And then you can adjust this just to see which tone you like better. All right, let's listen to the next one. So that's one right there. And I'll name that one Old Castle A. Let's go on to the next one. By the way, this is the way I'm going to be updating it on my website. So once I get done with a set of songs, I'll just add it to the folder and you can download it for free. Good evening, Joris. Okay, let's listen to the next one. Pretty one. So this one's pretty similar. This one I can probably play the notes or program in the notes. Bum, ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum. So this is that one measure. Let me make sure that I'm on the right track. So it's a 1, 1, bum, 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 bum. Just for expedience of time, let's look at the first one. Bum. I think this is supposed to be in 6/8, to be honest. So I'm going to go. Yeah, I was creating a lot of files here. Here's measure 800. Actually, we can go to. I'm going to change the meter here real quick. So I'm going to set it to 6/8. Bum, ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum, ba ba bum. Let's hear that. Bum, ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum. There you go. It's going to be a lot easier to play. So I'll create my track or my MIDI region. One, two. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Sorry. I had the wrong grid on it. Should be 8 notes. Bum, 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 bum. So this is the basic rhythm and notes. Yeah, that's right. All right, sounds horrible. So what we're going to do is make sure that these notes are extending all the way right here. So they're all ringing out. And then I want to make sure that this C, the starting note, is playing on the right string and fret. So that's correct right there. That's going to be G0. So again, we click in that G0 key switch. I like to make them, I like to set them at a lower velocity. That way, you know, later on when you're seeing it, that these are key switches, because it's easy to, let's see. It's easy to think that these are played notes when they're the same color as the other notes. So I'm going to lower this velocity. Again, because these notes are a third apart, which is a no-no with guitar plugins that follow the rules of guitar. We can change this one. It's going to sound a lot better. All right, now I'm going to lower the velocity. Now, because we're repeating the same exact file, it sounds pretty robotic and not very musical in my opinion. So in this case, if you're repeating a pattern, you want to avoid doing this, making this mistake. And that's just repeating it, copy paste or duplicate. What I want to do is merge these, and now I can see them how they look together. And then I want to take these notes that cut off all of a sudden and just connect them to the next ones. In some plugins, you have a legato key switch. This one I set it to shift and backslash, but right now it's not working because, let's see if this works like this. No. Legato is going to stop as soon as the next note appears, so I have to actually manually drag this. But it's okay. Let's listen to that. That sounds a lot better. It sounds smoother. So another thing I can do is to randomize the velocity just a little bit. Maybe some random number, like a low number, like 15. It's just going to give it a little bit of variation in the velocity. And let me go ahead and raise the volume a little bit. Another thing you can do is to randomize the quantization. So since this is already started, quantized perfectly to the grid, I'm going to have to randomize the ticks. So ticks over here, I have it set to, let me actually move this. It's set to 0 right now, but if I do choose a number like 8 ticks and then press quantize, it might be hard to see, but these little MIDI nodes moved, or these little MIDI blocks moved a little bit. I'll zoom in so you can see that they're not perfectly together now. Some of them might have even overlapped, which I don't want. In that case, I'm going to hit the right click, functions, and delete overlaps. But I've set this to backslash Just like in Logic. Since I came from Logic, there are a few key commands that I really liked. Oops. Just go over these like this, making sure that they're not overlapping. So some of them were overlapped, actually. And that's not good because it'll cut the next note off sometimes. This is just giving it a bit of humanization. Okay, something happened there. Maybe one of the notes was overlapped. I think it was this one right here. This one right here too. Part of the frustrating thing about MIDI editing is problem solving, but that's what it is. Sometimes you get these really frustrating problems and then you have to go on a little hunt. So it's right here. Something happening with this note right here. Don't know what it is. That note. Let me check right here. Oh. Silly me. All right, since I already put that initial key switch, I can get rid of these. Yeah, I think that solved it. All right. Usually it's a lot faster than this, but I'm performing under pressure, okay? And let's listen to the next one. Old Castle C. Dum dum bum 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 bum. So I can play that easily. I need to see how it relates to 6/8. Bum 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 bum. Okay, let's try that one. This is gonna be a little tricky. Bum bum ba bum ba bum bum ba bum bum bum. Okay, let me open that. First note is C. Bum bum. These notes were close to each other. No, that doesn't feel right either. Bum, bum, ba bum, ba bum. 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 Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba bum. Maybe I have to separate it into 8-note triplets. Bum, bum. Yeah. And these are meters that I don't really play in that much. I mean, I play in 6/8 often, but having to create triplets within that 6/8, I don't really do that often. All right. So this one I'll have to extend. There's probably a way. Let me look for it. So I'm gonna control click functions, pedal to note length. Pedals to note length. That didn't do anything. Legato, I've already tried that. Delete notes, restrict polyphony, thin out data, extract, reverse mirror, merge. No, I'll try legato. So legato only extends it to the next note. I like ample sounds legato. All right, and we're going to do the same thing as the last time with the duplicating. Merge these. And these start becoming faster too. Whoops. All right, now let's make sure that this is playing on the right C. So it was G0 for that key switch. We can play with the velocity, randomize it. That sounds good. I mean, we don't have to randomize the timing, but velocity is definitely a good idea. You don't want it to do it too much though, because then it's going to sound like beginners playing. All right, what else can we do with this? There was something else that I forgot to think. Oh yeah, if you want to change the key, and this is, I didn't mention this in the video yesterday, but you can really literally just drag this up. So if I want it in the key of F, I can do that. Okay, so maybe try triplet notes. Yeah, I already did that. Why is your metronome not triplet clicking? The metronome follows the time signature, not the grid. So I don't know if you can even set it to follow the grid. So when you transpose your chord, let's say you have a MIDI file and you want to change the key. So from C to F, you're going to drag it upward to F. However, this is going to be affected by this 4-string key switch that I mentioned earlier. So we're telling it to start on a specific string. You need to be careful with that and make sure that you're playing the right F. For example, this F right here, see how it's being told to play on this string. You might want that, but you may not. So I'm going to change the string. I'm going to try it on this one. Listen. Whoops. I accidentally set it to steel slide. All right, that sounds okay. I want it to sound a little bit, I want it to have a little bit more body and sound a little bit brighter. Let's try the next one. No, that's too high. Let's try a different key. Maybe a D minor. So for D minor, we're going to have to change these F sharps to F. that presents a problem. If you can see on here, notice how it starts hammering on some of the notes. Right there, that second note. That means we're going to probably have to change the first string. That works better right there. I'm using the 6th string key switch. So I'm showing you how I create these MIDI riffs inspired by other patterns that I hear, but you can see how easy it is to use it as a starting point to make even more riffs. Now that I'm here, actually, because this was just a random idea to go live. I mean, excuse me. I'm gonna delete this real quick. Somebody asked how you can use the dice function to create ideas. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Riffer, and there is a die right here that you can select, and you can choose the key. This is going to generate a random strum, arpeggio, or riff. It's not going to sound very musical at all, but it's a pretty cool feature anyway. And I've noticed some other companies are starting to implement this. So you can select your key. Let's say I'm in a song that's in the key of E. And let's see, what is this? I forgot what this is. The velocity variation range. So this is telling it how much of a range of velocity do I want this idea to be. So you could say I want it to have a really wide range, in that case 50. Or I want all the notes to be the same velocity, so 0, or something in between. I'll leave it at 20 right now. How many notes do you want in this? How many different notes? If you want just one note, it's going to generate it for you. If you want 8, or if you want all the way up to, actually, I think it goes above 16, but I'm going to keep it at 8. Do you want an arpeggio or a strum? So I'm going to choose an arpeggio. And then you can choose a type of chord. So let's say minor add 9 is good. It's good. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and it's going to generate it. I think you could actually set it to a higher number. So let's see. Yep. All right, somebody said my webcam is not synced with my audio. Can you do an oldie like Johnny Cash? Sorry about the webcam. Let me try to fix that real quick. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Hopefully that issue has been fixed, though. Okay. All right. Let me actually read some of the comments. Ned2 ARG. Oh, yeah, I definitely need to save that. Can't download it. And when you play it live, it's more human, I think. Yeah, that's very true. I think the best combination is whenever you play it live and play it well, and then you edit the MIDI afterward. Maybe try triplet notes. Okay, okay, you switch to Mac? No, I've always had a Mac. I've been using Mac for the past about 15 years. Can you do an oldie like Johnny Cash? Sure. After this, I'll do that really quickly. So anyway, this is what the AI, I would say, from Ample Sounds, this is what it generated. That actually sounds pretty good, and I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna have like jumbled notes. Can you guys hear that, by the way? It sounds really quiet to my ears. Bum. So I'm going to go ahead and make these stretch over so it sounds more continuous. So I can drag that to the DAW and it's going to play it back. Then I could change the key of this by dragging it down. So I select all the notes and I want it to go to C major. Actually, I can't drag it down because it'll have to go up. So I'm going to have to fix some notes here because it's playing as a C minor add 9. So I'll change these D sharps or E flats to E's. That sounds a little weird to me. So we're going to have to try to fix this. The way we can fix that is probably by selecting these bottom notes, not the top ones, holding down shift so that we can move them, and then dragging them to the next string. Now that would be a very difficult chord to play, but I think it sounds better. So let's go ahead and drag that. And let's listen to... Let me change the time signature here real quick. All right, one more time. All right, somebody said it's a bit quiet. Let me add... Hold on. You should be able to hear it better now after this. All right, let me play that again. Is that better? You know, I'm gonna use this as a question answering live stream. All right, somebody asked for Johnny Cash. Let's see. So just know I am not a guitarist. Everything I do on guitar is based off of what I see another guitarist do or based off of what I read. So I'm kind of cheating in that way. Although the result is still the same, that I'm able to make a guitar track. So let's try doing some Johnny Cash. Let's see. I certainly probably wouldn't use the hand or the hand library or the AGT library. Maybe something like a Martin. So let me open that up real quick. I think Johnny Cash used a Gibson, right? Not sure. So let's go in here and take off the delay. I don't want all that. Those effects. Whoops. Johnny Cash, I think he used a pick. So I'm going to use the pick library. So we're going to go in a riffer. Select new. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I think that's probably close to like 110. Let's try 110. My tempos are not perfect, but let's see. 1, 2, 3. That was a little slower than 110, but. Doom, 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 doom. All right. So let's go in the riffer. Thank you. We're going to start with the bass line. Chords should be like A minor, C, and D. Thanks. I don't know if Johnny Cash does alternate tuning, but this is a little limited. So beat 1, 1 and 2 and 3. The strums are going to be on and. So the bass notes are going to be on 1 and 2. Or sorry, on each beat. Bum bum. Or we can actually have the low E. And then on the end of each beat, I'm going to have a strum. So dum, bum, bum. That's going to be a down strum. So we're going to go to the strum line. Select A minor. And then instead of redoing that whole thing, I could just drag this over here. Okay. And then I don't know why it's shortening this one when I do that. And right here, I want a little pickup. So since this is on the so that's 4 E and since this is on the E of 4, I'm going to make this an upstroke. Let's shorten that, make it an upstroke. I'm going to copy that, so it's the easiest way to get it done. Make that a downstroke. Now, as I said earlier in another video, I'm going to make these upstrokes weaker. Okay, maybe make these a little quieter. I'm going to up my stroke noise. Okay, so we're going to do 2 measures of A minor. So I'm going to drag over these, hold down Option, and you're going to see a little plus sign pop up next to your arrow, and just drag it. Now, the next 2 measures are going to be C major, going based off of the recommendation. So what I could do is just drag this. That way I could just adjust these individual notes. So measures 3 and 4 are going to be C major. So C, in key of C major, the root and fifth are C and G. Sorry. And now we can select these chords down here. Whoops. These A minors, but we're going to, because they're on measure 3, we're going to change them to C major. It's that easy. It's really quick. Now, let me just check something real quick. So that might not be realistic right there. Playing a C major chord, but playing the C and the G and the bass on the same string. So I might want to fix that. I might want to use that C right here. So I'm going to move this up and move this C up like that. That's going to give more realistic playback, I think. And then we're going to copy this C chord, press Option, then click, and then drag it. And then the next part is going to be pretty easy, so I'm going to set this to 6 measures. So I'm just going to click this C major, and this is going to be pretty easy, and then I'm going to drag it to the next measure. Select the chords on measure 5 and change it to D major. But these are going to have to be changed as well. So D and A. Might need to move this up. Move this A up to the A string. The reason for that is because in our bass note, D is on the D line. That's going to be an open string. And then the A is open as well. If we had these on the lower strings or on string 6 and 5, we'd have to play a D chord with our left hand and then somehow reach over to D here and A here. That's just not realistic. So bringing them up to where the other D is much more realistic. Let's hear that real quick. All right, so let's copy that and then drag it over here to measure 6. Let's listen to the whole thing. All right, so there are some things that we can change now. I don't want it to be too repetitive, and I want there to be some bass line in there. So I'm gonna delete this. And bum bum bum. So bum 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 bum. Delete that. Oops. And these notes are going to be shortened, so I'm going to go to the note duration and set it to about 50%. And we can make this a quick strum as well. So I'll make that an upstroke. Okay. I want to make sure that this strum time or strum release time is a little lower because it's going to sound like it's bleeding over. I'm going to do the same thing here, going to D. So on measure 5, bum. So I'm going to delete these. Reduce the note duration. That way it sounds a little short. Bum, bum, bum. Like it's a pickup. And then another thing I can do with these little strums, instead of shortening it and then copying and pasting it, I could just select it. I don't know how it did that by itself. That's not, unless I moved. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Get my scissor tool and then cut this. Now it split it. So now I can select this and then make it an upstroke. And I'm going to go ahead and lower the velocity on that one. So I think that's Johnny Cash, right? Well, friends, I'm going to do more of these videos. I kind of like doing it. And I get tons of emails and tons of comment updates, people asking questions about a certain product, or why isn't this working, or how does this work? How do you do this? And believe me, I want to answer all your questions. But I am a full-time musician, and sometimes I just don't have time to answer everything, but I want to get to it. And what's taking up most of my time right now is video editing. I wish I could hire another video editor, but they would need to know the software as well as I do. So I'm going to look at the questions really quick. What libraries do you have in Superior Drummer? Let me see. I have a lot. Let's see. I have Independent, Alaire, Avatar, Hit Factory, New York Volume 3, because I bought it when it was Superior Drummer 2. Then I have Roots, Latin Cuban Percussion, Latin Percussion EZX. Oh, by the way, there's a few questions I want to ask you guys. So I'm at the point where I need to post more courses. One of the ideas I had is totally revamping Virtual Musician Academy. At the time, it was going to be a subscription, and I wanted to have vocals and then have you guys create tracks based on it. That still sounds like a good idea in my head, but I realized that a lot of my viewers don't know a lot about the fundamentals of MIDI programming and working in a DAW, music production, and all that, mixing. So, and a lot of you want to learn music theory. So, what sounds better to you? An intro to music theory course, general guitar programming, like not just for ample sound, but just how to use any guitar library and make it sound realistic. MIDI programming in your DAW, like Virtual Musician Academy. What kind of things would you like me to focus on, not just on my website, but on my channel as well? Because I love teaching and I want to help you guys, show you what I know and show you the things that I'm learning as well. Let's see, thank you very much. Oh yeah, so anyway, going back to Superior Drummer, I bought all these libraries, but the honest truth is that the ones that I use here are mostly from Superior Drummer 3. So all of these I don't really use that much. And then Latin Cuban Percussion, I do use that often. Although I love Native Instruments Cuba Percussion way more than this one. At least their congas and bongos and timbales. But on this one, I like the shaker, the guiro, the guira as well. And cowbells are good. So let me switch it back. All right, any more questions? By the way, is my webcam synced? I guess it's not going to matter soon, though, because I'm going to end this stream. So anyway, thanks for joining this live stream. Give me ideas on what you would like to see on this channel, and I'm going to try to implement them based off on the popularity. Because yes, I do want to make ad revenue to continue doing this, so I don't have to get a regular job. I've been working my whole life to do what I'm doing right now. Make guitar realistic. All right, well, friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next